Hey everybody, so I have a happy ending, start to finish, with a conclusion type of case for you today that led us to Cherokee Nation. So welcome back to Client Stories with Amy. Client said when she was 13, she had built up the courage to go to her mom and ask some tough questions about who her dad was. Her mom says I wasn't quite ready for that conversation. However, she was honest. She said that I went on a date with a really tall, dark, handsome, charismatic, kind man who was dressed to the nines and had the best boots she'd ever seen in her life. Even to this day, she's still commenting about those boots, how good they were. And so that's all she had, and a first name. That's all she had. It was just a brief romance, and then it came, and then it went, and several weeks later, she found out she was pregnant and didn't tell him. She didn't even know where to find him. She just had no way to find him to tell him, even if she wanted to. So that's where the story began. She took a ancestry DNA test and was looking at the matches and scrolling through, and she's like, somebody on here knows my dad. Somebody here is connected to my dad. They know something. And so she sent a few messages and of course didn't get anything back. If you decide to message your DNA matches, be vague. Very, very vague. Don't say I'm looking for my dad, I'm looking for my mom. Be very vague. Something like, hey, we're DNA matches. Let's see how we connect. Can you share some surnames or family members of your grandparents and great-grandparents? Be as vague as you can. Don't come out there, because sometimes people freak out like, oh, this is family secret. We don't want nothing to do with this. We're not helping. And then that's that. So we get started on her case. I get matches sorted, and I'm looking at the surnames. And if you are Native, you kind of know your tribe's history. So I know some of these families that I'm looking that she's connecting to. So I'm getting through everything and found the grandparents, 5 sons that they had, and one of those sons is her biological father, and one of them matched the name mom gave. So we can assume that he's probably the birth father. She gets in contact with him, and he's very shocked. He remembers mom and just says, I never knew you existed, and he needed a minute to process that. And 2 days later, he calls her back and says, okay, where do we go from here? Like, let's figure this out. Let's do a DNA test. And so they do a DNA test. He comes back as a birth father, and he feels like I do. All of our Native cousins, regardless of tribe, they need to be found, reunited with their culture and their people, and enroll if it's possible. Not all tribes allow people to enroll, even if they can prove their family line is to somebody who is enrolled, due to many reasons. And so in this case, Cherokee Nation, as long as we can prove her to him, which we did, she can enroll. But there's one thing to that. She was like, how do we do this? And lucky for her, I knew the whole process. I knew what they needed to do to get her enrolled. So it's like, you need to go to court. You need to petition the court to establish paternity to him. She's like, well, we already had the DNA test. I was like, that's not a court-ordered test. It's not court admissible. You have to do another one. So they petition the court. They order the DNA test. They do the DNA test. Comes back a few weeks later as he's the dad, of course. They go back to court. The judge signs off on the order saying he is the biological parent. The birth certificate should be amended to reflect that. Here's the court order. Now you're on your own. So what now? They have the court order. Can they go enroll? No, they can't enroll yet. Even though they have the court order and paternity established, they still can't go enroll yet. They got another step to do. They have to get an application from the state to amend the birth certificate, send in that court order signed by the judge. A few more weeks go by. They get a new birth certificate in the mail for her with the new biological father listed. So now it's been about 5 months now, 6 months at this point, and they're still trekking along. And so now we got the birth certificate that's amended with their biological father. We still have the court order signed by the judge. Now they have to go to tribal registration, get all the paperwork together, sign everything, fill it all out, put everything in there. And since he's already enrolled, she just has to prove herself to him, which they did with the court order and the birth certificate. They had to send in the birth certificate to tribal registration with the application and the court order showing why the birth certificate was amended. And they waited 10 months. So we're at over a year now. We're like well over a year. And so last week she got her tribal citizenship. She is now an enrolled citizen, proudly, of Cherokee Nation. And now we have one of our cousins that were lost and found now. But that's it for today. Don't forget to like, follow, and share. And I will see you guys later.